This video is only for my fellow sword bros, so if you're a spear, bow, or God forbid, shield bro, just keep on scrolling. Get out of here. The year is 2014. You just get back to your dorm room after a hall-wide game of Super Smash Bros. On the Wii U, and you got in second place in the tournament only because your dick of an RA, Charlie, just keeps spamming side B with Ike. Your pal Jeff comes barging into the room, almost waking up your lameoid roommate to tell you about this sweet anime he just finished. You've dabbled a little bit in anime, so you decide to ask the one question that any human in any time will ever ask. What is it? He pauses. Then he says the 3 words that will change your life, either for good or for evil. Or for neutral, but everybody knows that's not the real ending. He grunts out the words, Sword Art Online. What up? It's your boy. Small peepee, but big heart. Sword Art Online is one of those things that promises to take you on a grand road trip across the entire United States, but you end up spending a bunch of that time in front of a Denny's helping out the special ed kids while eating a Grand Slamwich. Then you fast forward about 2 years, you're in Michigan at a Waffle House, you meet the love of your life, you decide to say, screw the road trip, I'm gonna go fishing. Fish on! Decide to get back on that life we call a highway before dying of dysentery in Arizona. You did not make it on the Oregon Trail. But of course, that's talking about the first season of many across a multimedia franchise. We're talking novels, we're talking manga, we're talking movies, we're talking radio dramas, we're talking American ripoffs, we're talking possible sequels. We're talking the best abridged series ever. Don't cash me. Basically, if you've got ears and you got eyes, you can attempt to enjoy something in this series. But wait, Devin, why did you say attempt? That's because Sword Art is divisive, to say the least. Now, I ain't gonna bog you down with Sword Art is the pits, man. No, that's Ruby. I say, like what you like, hate what you gonna hate, but Sword Art Online? That's pretty great. Don't mind me none, I'm just writing that one down for my next club banging single. How's about we break down the series for you vociferous lads and ladettes? So first off, we got ourselves the titular series, Sword Art Online. Who'da thunk? Kirito and some simply epic Rick and Morty gamers get trapped in a castle called Aincrad in the game Sword Art Online, where players use sword arts in an online setting. So inside this massive monolith of a monumental mansion are 100 floors, and the only way to get out of the game is by making it to the top. So basically, they want players to beat an MMO? Essentially. Kirito has himself a few misadventures along the way, but the anime only shows us a snippet of these. If you want the full and more interesting story, then check out Sword Art Online Progressive. Named after the insurance provider that Reki Kawahara saw on a commercial while taking a trip through America, Sword Art Online Progressive retells the storyline of Sword Art Online, but without any of those wacky time skips, and makes Asuna the main character. May I say, it's a good main character. So after they get out, spoiler alert, they get out, Kirito hears that his waifu from another laifu is trapped in yet another VR MMORPG, even though the fact that they just got out of a last VR MMORPG that killed thousands of people should have stopped making those. But like for real, an old lady got bumped by a Tesla one time, causing national news coverages for weeks, and made people change their minds about Milan Yusk. So Kirito and his cousin, who are totally not a thing, thanks for asking, fight Creepoid #1. Following the massive international success of Sword Art Online, we got ourselves Sword Art Online 2. Crap. I think I wrote that 3 backwards. After hearing about his epic gamer skills, the Japanese government, yes, that Japanese government, decides to send our boy Kirito to a Call of Duty-like game to hunt down a mad hombre called Deathgun who goes around killing weak dex players instead of the superior strength build users. And those are the only 2 genders, sister! This one kind of functions more as a mystery than the other 2 seasons, and while we're not exactly sure at first how Deathgun goes around killing people, It gives us this beautiful gem right here. Enjoy. So Kirito and girl number 6 decide to join in this VR MMORPG FPS BR to hunt down and stop the mysterious Death Gun. Big fat major spoiler country here, but we find out that Death Gun isn't one person, nor two people, but it's actually 3 guys. Burgers and fries. And that leads us to Creepoid number 2. Cool. So with the identity of Death Gun being found out, everyone on the team decides to go on vacay, except for Asuna, who wants to hang back and play video games with a girl dying of space AIDS. This is the best season of Sword Art Online, as it captures the feeling of an MMORPG where you get to build guilds and everybody gets to come together and work towards a common goal. See, this group of players wanted to come together and leave their mark on the world even by doing something so insignificant as beating every raid boss and an MMORPG just to have their names immortalized as they moved on from this chapter in their lives. As a big raid boy in Final Fantasy XIV, I played Lalafell, thanks for asking. It was cool to see friendships being formed, mechanics being discussed, and hours spent just having a good time. But then Space Age Girls totally kicks it, ending Sword Art Online 2. Sometime after the gang does all of this, we get ourselves the slice of pie that is called Sword Art Online Alternative Gun Gale Online. With SAOA GGO taking place in the same VR MMORPG FPS BR previously mentioned, it's basically what happens if you only pick Monkey in Time Splitters. Written by the same author who wrote Kino's Journey, which, may I say, was pretty Kino. It's actually my favorite Sword Art Online entry to date, and the best part is that it doesn't even have a single sword. Not one. Not one. God bless. Basically, Little Pink Girl is actually Big Yellow Girl IRL, who kind of slides into some homicidal tendencies after playing a video game. I mean, if that doesn't sound like a narrative already written by a TV news channel, just wait for this. After the quiet, Karen passed by the lively 6 girls without crossing paths. "Hey, you there!" The voice of one of them reached Karen's ears. "You're tall!" Karen had no desire to hear what she had to say after that. Karen covered her face, hastened her pace, and ran away from that spot. At the same time, a single desire welled up. I want to shoot them. I want to shoot all 6 of those girls. Her right hand searched for P-Chan that was usually held in front of her body, but cut the air in vain. P-Chans are P90, not P90X. It's a gun. Taking a cue from Pokemon Go, yes, that Pokemon Go to the polls, comes Sword Art Online Ordinal Scale the movie. Similar to the masterpiece that is the Ed, Edd n Eddy movie, both of which have higher production values and a final boss-like character who doesn't play no game. Following all of this, we finally got ourselves the currently airing season right now called Sword Art Online Alicinization, which, after looking it up, Alicinization means to turn something into an Alice. And the dictionary definition for an Alice is a caring, beautiful person who puts other people before herself. She's sexy, sensual, often known as a sex demon who will shock you in bed. A great lover, often has the most amazing body and great booty. Alice means using a sandwich bag for sex instead of a condom. But before getting there, let's put it in park in what I'd like to call the Gameaverse of Sword Art Online. Keep in mind, none of them are canon, but still fun, nonetheless. You got yourself Sword Art Online Infinity Moment, which is basically a retelling of the first arc of Sword Art Online, but they stay trapped in the game even after Power of Friendshiping the first big bad. Following that, we got ourselves Sword Art Online Hollow Fragment. It's basically the same game, but with more hand-holding. Degenerates. Then there's Sword Art Online Lost Song, where you get to be a fairy boy doing fairy boy things. Following that, we've got ourselves Sword Art Online Hollow Realization, where you get to design your own OC Kirito, do not steal, and Princess Carry your waifu. Truly, video gaming cannot surpass this masterpiece. And then you got Sword Art Online Code Register, where you just collect pictures of your waifus and husbandos. That's it. Then you got yourself Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax, where you get to beat up anime Jesus, save the Sega Dreamcast, and defeat this glaucoma-induced eyeball. Alright, homies. Bring it in. Come on, getting closer. There we go. Let's talk Alicinization. Alright, actual real boy spoilers for a currently airing anime, no Pinocchio. Real stuff right here. Real spoiler country. I might get some events wrong, but it's been a bit since I've read these. And the translation? Not so hot. So it starts with Kirito getting jumped by that one kid who says he's gonna, light your dog on fire. And all of this puts him into a coma. The Japanese government, yes, that Japanese government takes his body, Cold War style, and airlifts him all the way to this futuristic super base that exists in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. That kind of reminds me of Metal Gear Solid 5. Asuna pulls some Master of Disguise level B&E to break into this super government base to find Kirito strapped to the exact same machine that Space AIDS Girl was attached to, that simultaneously sends his soul into the super AI video game world he is currently playing, while his body recovers from being pumped with antifreeze. Meanwhile, in super AI video game world, Kirito finds himself a new otter, convinces him to break the law and kill a man, making him one rad role model. The boys decide to study swordology at Sword University, home of the Fightin' Swords, and meets Creepoid number 3. Oh my god, look at that leap. I give it a 7. Then the boys decide to go to a tower and save Alice. I forgot to mention, this whole point of this journey was for them to go save Saber Clone number 13. Alice, from being hella rad. Don't talk to my son, especially my son at the beach. They climb the tower fighting a whole mess of brainwashed jabronis and brocachinas before coming across the cooler Alice. During their little spiff, Kirito and Alice get launched out the tower and decide to climb back up it, but this time using the outside for whatever reason. Kirito's boy toy gets captured, they fight, he realizes that he's the one in the wrong because he didn't take out the trash, and then the two scrap up a sentient AI that wants to find its way to the real world. After 5 Saiyans of pure heart gather in a circle, Kirito magically transforms into Kirito from Sword Art Online, the first one. Then Yu-Gi-Oh becomes a sword, he dies, the AI gets away, Kirito loses his legs, becomes emotionally broken, and then lives in a sweet log cabin up north. Meanwhile, in the real world, the futuristic base gets under attack by America, who's actually not in it for the oil for once, but they're actually there to get Alice, who supposedly is the truest AI who have ever AI'd, despite the fact that this series gave us both Yui and Yuna, and then they want to take this super AI game world and fill it with Sword Art survivors because lol XD. Asuna then decides to take a #gamer break during this military raid to go into the game and get her man. But of course she is followed by the strongest creepoid ever, the one who founded the Oogie Boogie Super Scary PvP guild that killed people in Sword Art Online. The game. The one in the anime. The first one. Once she got into the super AI game, she game genied herself a hella strong account, and then she gets jumped by Americans. How did they get there? Thankfully, people from the Fairy Boy game raided chat all at once, shouting, "For the king!" and fought back the American Gamer Boy Army, which apparently is a respected branch in the military. Of course, there is much more in this epic quest to go through, but with the novels still being released to this day and details getting fuzzy, I think it's a good place to chill it with the story synopsis. Possibly where all of this ends up is in another series called Excel World, which was written by Reki after Sword Art reached its mainstream success. Starring Eric Cartman, he falls in love with this butterfly lady, and their romance develops and blossoms and becomes something truly magical. And like all good romance stories, the story revolves around them playing laser tag. Sword Art Online is one of those things to where you kind of just write and put it on Wattpad while you're 14 years old, and it just so happens to become a mainstream success, and you spend years upon years of your life trying to make it look decent so you can go home and look your parents in the eyes. The premise is pretty rad, and some say that it actually led to the start of the isekai genre. And at the same time, it also turned a dumb Frankie Muniz movie plot into an actual anime. There's your 6 degrees. Kirito, Frankie Muniz, Sword Art. That's it. People around the world either have come to love or to hate Sword Art. And heck, it might have been your first anime. But you're not a real anime fan unless you've watched Evangelion.